right, welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be playing some Legacy on the channel. It's been some time, I guess, but yeah, Legacy's relevant as ever. And this coming weekend, we have a lot of important tournaments, a couple of Legacy qualifiers on Magic Online. So I thought, why not give some of the Tier 1 decks a spin as preparation for that, for both myself and for you guys. So first up, we have the blue-black Reanimator deck that recently got some kind of polish, basically removing Orcish Bowmasters for Dottie Voidwalker. And let's talk about this card first. So this card is a 3/2 Shadow for 2 mana that basically makes your opponent unable to interact via their own graveyard. Also, there's some awesome stuff like you can go turn 2, play Voidwalker, then you can Grief, pick out like a monstrous card from the opponent's hand, then play it for free later. The cool thing about this card is it's graveyard hate that is respectable to draw, even if the opponent doesn't care about the graveyard. That's why we can actually get away with main decking this one. And it pitches to Grief, so it's also the right color. This deck is basically trying to produce a fast Archon or Atraxa via Entomb, and then we're playing the solid package of Brainstorm, Ponder, Daze, Force, and a little bit of Catch-All / random creature to attack the opponent with to kind of back it up. Grief, a card loved by many, is a card that lets us have the more disruptive, fast, produce a fatty with a backup starts. It's also good against unfair strategies, so a Grief is pretty solid, and we can hardcast them in the mid to late game. Mana base, very straightforward. We play 4 Trolls because the card is insane with the reanimation cards. It fixes our mana. It ups the black count for Grief. We gain more access to our basic swamp in the face of Blood Moon Wasteland type cards. That card is just absurd. I will say my 2 cents is that if this strategy proves to be problematic, I'm talking win rate wise in Legacy, the Troll is that's what I want banned, to then nerf the, let's say, robust / fair version of Reanimator, but still keep around the fast version that has been a staple in the format for years, and I think it's welcome. We play 4 Underground Seas alongside a Sewer for when we have that luxury, and then we play fetches that goes and gets Island, which is unintuitive right now. I have chosen to copy the 2 Flooded Strands that was in the original version because I feel like Flooded Strand Go can lead the opponent to more bad decisions than other fetch lands, like if they think we're hard control, etc., etc. The basic island is, however, in the sideboard because we might need it in some matchups. So let's quickly go to the sideboard. I changed up a few cards. I now have some Hydroblasts. We have Catch-All and Brazen. We have Triple Force Negation to not die early. Then we have a split of basically the same effect. We have Wretched Bomb, Engineered Explosives, and the Filigree Silex. So 2 mana legendary artifact, and put an oil counter on it, sacrifice, and then destroy everything in play equal to the number of counters on it. Also, if the game goes on forever, you can remove 10 oil counters from this and deal 10. So I guess the first copy is just an upgrade. Engineered Explosives, kind of the same deal. Kill some hate, kill some rhinos, kill some 1-drops. Yeah, great card. Couple of spot removal for Delver, and opposing Trolls, Voidwalkers, initiative creatures, what have you. A little bit more graveyard hate, the basic I talked about. And I think that'll do it for the deck tech. Let's take this deck into some matches and see if this strategy is just far and away the best thing you can be doing in Legacy. Then again, there's this context of if that's what everybody believes and subscribes to, more hate will be played, and that will kind of balance it out. So yeah, let's see how we do. See you for the matches. Okay, round 1, we're on the draw here, playing blue-black Reanimator. We have a solid hand of Grief, Force of Will, and some mana sources, so we keep. Worth noting is, with a deck like this, you can't always have, turn 2 Atraxa with counter backup. Sometimes you just, have to play normal Magic. Looks like I have to Force of Will this Chalice of the Void, which is not my favorite thing in the world, but definitely worth it. Then I can grief my opponent before deciding on what. Okay, very nice draw. I was about to say I could grief my opponent to see if this wasteland was going to be effective. That is still very much true. Let's see what we can get out of the opponent's hand. Ooh, that deck. I guess we just make our opponent not play Magic anymore. That's generally pretty solid strategy, I would say. So now I have to think about, is Wasteland in the picture? I'm debating whether playing Swamp or Fetching here is a good idea. The reason why Fetching can be strong is if I have a Ponder on top of my deck, then I can Wasteland and Ponder. I think that's fine. I don't think that deck is likely to play Wasteland, but who knows? Who knows these days? Reanimate the Grief, pick the Golos out of the opponent's hand, have a Wasteland at the ready, and we're kind of off to the races here. Ugin is scary, though. The opponent can draw something like Thought-Knot here. They did not, so opponent's hand is Ugin and one unknown. I will Wasteland the Ancient Tomb here to keep my opponent at bay. Even though the damage is kind of nice, the mana burst of 2 is not very nice. Let's see if Grief can get in there for 6 hits. Okay, there's Cloud Post. So the opponent's a big mana deck if I ever saw one. Voidwalker is basically what we talked about in the deck tech here. It's not going to disrupt their graveyard, I believe, but very welcome when it comes to the clock. The opponent's currently at 2 mana. Ugin is kind of 4 mana, but not for a lot of useful cards. So now I can, funnily enough, reanimate Golos and go get Wasteland. Not an interaction you see every day. Also, it's not going to matter a whole lot here, I believe, since my opponent's at 6 life. But yeah, Grief and reanimating your opponent's creatures is not nothing, especially if the format isn't, extremely narrow. If you play against a wide range of decks, like at your local game store, etc., I think that'll get a lot more value than the average Magic Online tournament. Okay, so that deck is probably extremely scary. It does play Chalice of the Void, so I want to deal with that card. What? Okay, I guess it's just the Voidwalkers that I don't want. So maybe if I add something like 2 negations, 2 of those cards, I'll be fine. I still have a couple of Brazens. Maybe the 3rd Ratchet Bomb is worth having. I'm not sure what I would cut. I do like all of my other stuff. Force a negation. Maybe that card isn't that good against my opponent. Maybe it is. I'll try this. Couple of answers for Chalice. Sometimes we can beat it. Sometimes we have like Animate Dead or they don't draw it. Stuff like that, right? Okay, this hand is super solid. We don't lose to like some brokenness. We have Wasteland to kind of stop our opponent's development a little bit. Okay, here's the Chalice. So the opponent is picking up where they left off. I feel like I should pitch the other force, but it's actually close. And here, I should stop my opponent from, at least attempt to stop my opponent from playing Magic. With the 1-2 punch. Land was not a good draw here. Land was not a good draw there either. Let's play Ponder. Ooh, and Tomb Reanimate. That's awesome. That's awesome. So I can go put Reanimate into hand in case I get, I don't know, Thought Not Seared, I guess, out of nowhere. Then I draw the Entomb. and I produce an Atraxa most likely. Unless my opponent plays like a really solid creature. But yeah, this is not good for the opponent. So the thing about this here is the opponent could have something like Fairy Macabre, which would be very annoying, but force the opponent to have it. And if they do, we play a longer game. If they don't, we most likely win the game. Let's see what this pause is about. Not the biggest strategical decision, so maybe something going on away from the computer. Okay, yeah, this was just like like if I was gonna boil this deck strength down to just a single match, this would be it. Force of will, whatever the opponent's playing, wasteland them to keep them down, and then we can still totally easily function from 1 to 2 mana and do broken things. So yeah, nice start. A little 2-0 versus Eldrazi Post. See you for the next one. Okay, round 2 is upon us. We're on the draw here, which is a shame because on the play this would be insane. So let's cross our fingers that we live to see another day. Okay, Delver's a cool matchup. See what I draw here. I don't feel like I have the same plan. So funnily enough, we kind of have the same conflict as round 1. If I go Swamp turn 1, I am insulated against Wasteland better. If I go Polluted Delta, I can Wasteland and Ponder turn 2, which is kind of cool, but Wasteland is also very good against me. Sorry, guys. So I can choose to Grief first, get the first copy of Grief Dazed, then Reanimate. Maybe that's better, because if the opponent does not have Wasteland, I really prefer developing the blue source this turn. So let's see what the opponent's working with. Okay. That is this is very exciting actually. Because now I could go abandon my original plan and just wasteland my opponent. Then griefing next turn. I should probably do that. What am I going for here? Hmm. Interesting. The problem is if my opponent draws the land, these channelers could be good. Okay, I'll try and take the brainstorm, wasteland my opponent, and hope for the best. Yeah, this is actually more deep than I'm able to give it credit for right now. No flip. So if my opponent just has the land, I feel like, okay, they drew another creature, I guess. Interesting. I'll reanimate the grief here, but maybe maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I was supposed to play around my opponent having Wasteland on top of their deck. I actually think I was. Because, yeah, like, casting 2 Ponders next turn, it is possible, but... Okay, I might have made a mistake there, because if the opponent draws a Wasteland here, that's actually just 4 more cards I wouldn't mind the opponent drawing. Okay, so we have some kind of game here, except the opponent can't cast any cards. I draw another Reanimate, which is kind of funny. So what I could do is Reanimate Channeler, play Ponder. Not bad. I think I'll try that. And then I get punished if my opponent has a land on top. Then it dies to Bowmaster. Okay, this is actually like pretty complex scheme. How do I feel about Animate Dead? I probably just put it to the yard and work towards Delirium. There's a Voidwalker, which is cool. Do I like these cards? Because Voidwalker is good. What if I get Bowmastered on Channeler? Yeah, these are probably decent. Well, if I get Bowmastered, I'm left with some cantrips in hand. That kind of sucks. Huh. Okay, I changed my mind. I'll shuffle here. Very hard game. I wasn't prepared for that decision. I have enchantment, sorcery, and land in the yard. I need creature or instant. Let's see. So actually now I want my opponent to flip this Delver, which is kind of funny. Opponent does not flip the Delver. Second land. Channeler down. Yeah, this is not ideal. I think I'll lose this game. But I don't know if I could have stopped it. That's what I'm worried about. Force of Will, not exactly on time. So maybe I just ask my opponent for the trade here and then reanimate the Channeler once more? Yes. So with the help of Force of Will, pitch Ponder, it becomes a 3/3. I think that's how I play. Let's see if the opponent can keep getting unlucky here on Delver. The opponent has Channeler, Murktide, and Molten Collapse with one unknown in hand. The opponent only wants to attack for one. I think that's very good for me. Opponent passes the turn. Can we do it? Land was not a terrible draw. Let's see if the opponent's interested in the double block. Really wish I had Delirium here, but no such luck. Brief getting in there. I guess my opponent has like more Channeler, more Murktide in hand. Guess I just pass. Let's see. The Delver doesn't flip, so no reason to bounce it. I would have, considered it at least. Okay. Yeah, now it's kind of getting into crunch time. I feel like my opponent will try and Molten Collapse here. Maybe not. Molten Collapse on the Grief. So this is interesting play in the first main because now I can Force a Will, put instant in my yard, and that way grow the Channeler so my opponent doesn't have an attack. So I think in a perfect world, if your plan is to Molten Collapse the Grief, you can do it on second main. Do I want to draw Grief? I don't think so. So Force of Will, then Molten Collapse. Channeler is now big, and I have Brazen in hand for the opponent's Murktide. What else can I do? What I can do now is play the 3/1, attack with everybody. Double block on the Grief. The opponent takes 6. Yeah, it's 1 damage off, funnily enough, so can't. I have to play like controlling with Brazen. Atraxa, not exactly the best draw. Let's get in there. There is a chance I'm supposed to play, like, bounce the army. No, that doesn't work. 7. Tough game, tough game. The opponent now has 4 types in the yard, which is very bad. I just managed to lose this game. I don't think I was supposed to lose this game, but I don't like my spot. I think my opponent's like leaving me a chance here. Now I can bounce Murktide in response to kind of play a little bit around Daze. So my opponent doesn't get a free Surveil trigger. Roll out of here. Murktide back to hand. I get attack down to 7. Yeah, this is going to be tight. This is going to be pretty darn tight. So maybe I just play the Brazen from out here. And attack my opponent down to 4. And yeah, now it's time. Lightning Bolt would be awesome for the opponent. Bowmasters would be decent. Okay. Brainstorm's a very good start. Gives the opponent a lot of looks to find what they need to finish this game. Yeah, this game was awesome. So many small decisions, and I'm not confident at all I did what I was supposed to do all of this game. I feel like the opponent's pretty heavy favorite to win this game. Bowmasters on the Channeler. I get attacked to 5. I can attack my opponent down to 1. But I don't have Bowmasters to slam the door. My opponent's 1 off from killing me next turn. Yeah, this is super funny. Voidwalker. Animate Dead. That is a pretty good draw. Let's put my opponent to 1 and think about what to do with that Animate Dead. I want something that kind of beat Murktide. And I think, there's a cool interaction here. The opponent had 1, so this fetch land is not reliable. But did my opponent put the correct card on top to protect, or did they keep their best card in hand? I'm basically saying, is Grief what I'm supposed to animate dead here? But I think it's just Troll. And the reason for that is that requires 3 blockers no matter what, so the opponent can't really attack me back. The cool thing about Grief is it takes my opponent's best card that they chose to keep, and it requires 2 blockers. Let's see. I don't think I'm beating. I think I've talked myself into the Grief. So I don't think my opponent can get to Delirium for Channeler. So if I can take their flyer out of the picture, I think that wins the game. Also, the opponent could be Sandbag, like they could have like a Lightning Bolt. And I can't beat that card. Nice Days. Let's get rid of that. Grief resolves. Let's see. If the opponent kept the Bolt on top, I'm losing this game. Ooh. Okay. Does that Bowmaster do anything? I don't think so. The opponent can't cast a flyer either, though. How does my opponent get to hardcast Murktide? Yes, the answer is they don't. But what does this Bowmaster do? Bowmaster can shoot me down to 4. Opponent can attack with those 4 creatures. I can block the army and go to 1. Then what about Murktide? Let's say the opponent has a Mishra's Bauble on top. Random example. Then the opponent goes bobble, mill over a card, 2 cards in yard. Bobble is the next one. Hmm. Very interesting. I can't beat a bolt no matter what. Bolt on Chandler is just, or my face is just game over. Bowmaster do anything. Back with everybody. I block the Orc Army because that can grow. Take 3, take 4. Hmm. Both are creatures, so for Chandler, kind of the same. Is there any cantrip into bobble situation? I guess that situation exists. Let me try and take the Murktide here and hope for the best. I think I can't beat if my opponent put a good card on top of their deck, but I think Murktide is more likely to matter. So now I have to block the Orc Army, or I'm dead. So I take 3. Wow, what a game. Can't beat Bolt. Can't beat, like, Brazen on this. Yes. Maybe I missed something. I don't know. Ooh, what a game. What a game. That was awesome. Oof. I like the end result, but I'm not sure I got to the end result in the correct fashion. Okay, so matchup like this, I'm curious how mid-range I can go. What if I get rid of these? These are 10 cards. So let me see. This is also 10 cards. I play mid-range against that deck. Or do I need my broken package? Hmm. Which cards do I want for sure? I mean, these cards are pretty darn strong. I'll actually try and go mid-range against them. I don't know. No, maybe that's not possible without Murktides. Okay, I see. So we keep this package. I don't like the Griefs very much. I don't like the Force Wills very much. And then we can go put all of this in the deck. Maybe a card like Days on the draw isn't the best. And I really do then just add the hate cards here? Anti-hate cards, I would call it. Okay. I'm willing to give this a whirl. So completely overhaul the free disruption suite and then try and answer some stuff like one for one and still have access to the broken package. Because cards like Force Will and Days are very situational in most games, I would say. No troll here, so we don't have access to black mana. This is just not a keepable hand, unfortunately. Would have loved it to be. This is a lot better, so probably get rid of the Brazen and play from here. The opponent having Orcish Bowmasters in the deck, and I don't, is kind of scary. My hand has the ability to go Swamp, push the Delver, and then maybe fetch Island later if I want to protect my mana. Fatal, push Delver. We get Dazed here, which is fine. I mean, Daze is oftentimes very relevant throughout the course of the game, so getting Dazed early, it's not something you should worry too much about. I mean, just imagine if we try and play around Daze on all turns of the game. Okay, Pyroblast. That's just, at that point, the effect of the card is too big, in my opinion. Okay, there's the basic island, so going Underground Sea here is decent. I'm gonna play a Voidwalker. If it gets bolted, I'm sad. If it doesn't, I'm very happy. No lightning bolt, or the opponent's playing around days, who knows? Here's a wasteland. So right now, I'm currently losing the race. I think my plan is to ponder on my turn. I draw my own wasteland. Thing is, I'm behind on I'm behind in the race here. But it is very tempting to wasteland my opponent there. Let's see if we get pyroblasted. Okay, so the cool thing about this is I now have access to a pyroblast to kill the Delver, and I think I'm going to go for that. So what I'm going to do here is I will sack my Voidwalker to choose Pyroblast. Then I will Pyroblast the Delver. Okay, I get forced. Fair enough. That makes my plan way worse. My plan was to get the Voidwalker back. Okay. So maybe I don't do it now. Maybe I try and find an Entomb before it's over. Oh, okay. The opponent did a good job there. I like my line a lot. So what could I have done? I could have played Voidwalker first. Or, like, reanimated Voidwalker. I don't think it changes anything, though. Because the opponent lets that happen, and then I try and Pyroblast the Delver, and then I get forced. I think I end up in the same place. Yeah, this is the ultimate punishment, unfortunately. Now it's going to be very, very complicated. Yeah. Let's find... I think if I find Entomb there, I'm in decent shape. But I don't, and the game's over. Okay. That was an interesting game. Very, very tight margins. I think my line was decent, but I got really, really punished there, to be fair. Okay, so now I think Days is back on the menu. What about something like minus that? Minus one of the bombs, and then have a couple of dazes. I think that should be decent. Which one is the worst one? It's probably Ratchet Bomb. You could also bring out everything here. The reason why I wanted access to them is something like Grafdigger's Cage or Soul Guide Lantern are very annoying. We'll try this. Yeah, very tricky match. It's a matchup I think you kind of have to master if you're going to play this deck. I'm not sure I'm there. So we can maybe get rid of a Brainstorm here. I think that's okay. I really don't want a Daze turn 1 unless it's a hate piece. But I think playing it out for that exact reason is fine. Then I can hopefully play Unlicensed Hearse with backup. Nile Spellbomb. Yeah, that definitely counts. Let's daze that card. Cycle Troll. Get another sea, or maybe just Sewers, actually. Then I play Sewers. It's worse if I draw some, like, 1-mana card, but if I don't, it's fine. Play Sewers. Do I want to go, like, back-to-back Voidwalkers? Do I think that's strong? I think it is. Let's try. So the Hearse ended up being very redundant in this game after a mulligan, which is not the best. There's a Channeler. Ponder. Also worth noting is the opponent could easily have a daze. I was floating mana for my daze in the first turn, so could get dazed here, which is always sad. Also, my opponent doesn't really know how scared they're supposed to be, which is always a good situation. Again, Voidwalker getting bolted is very sad. If it doesn't get bolted, I'm very happy. It's kind of the same thing here. I don't think you can like try and outsmart yourself here and go, oh, I'll play the hearse because I don't want this to get bolted. I think then you're giving up too much equity, but it is not an easy decision. That's kind of how Delver wins. It's like, yeah, exactly. By their answers lining well up to my plan here. Orcish Bowmasters getting milled over. Delver. Now my like explosive type cards are insane. Can we spike one of those? No, but we can spike an Animate Dead. I think I'm gonna go for Animate Dead. Animate Dead the Troll. We're trying to ask as many tough questions as possible here. Okay. Force of Will, pitch Murky. I will play this Brainstorm out now because I don't want to get land Bowmastered. Ooh, this is horrible. So Hearse is bad. Wasteland is probably also bad. I'm in trouble here. Opponent flips. And we'll get Delirium, so I'll take 6. Yeah, this is very tough. This is how, like, this has been Delver's plan forever, to have this, you know, the 1-drops backed up by the good interaction. And this game that was Nile Spellbomb, must deal with. It was Lightning Bolt, traded well on mana, killed my Voidwalker, and then Force of Will when I tried to make it power play. So, yeah. Oof, what a beating. When you can resolve 2 1-drops and keep attacking while doing 1 or 0 mana, like stopping your opponent, trading favorably on mana, buying time, that's where Delver's at the best. So now, since I have a bad card on top, I feel like I should Swamp Cycle here. I need to draw the explosives, I feel like. Desperation Mode, Bowmasters will crush me. I don't like this pause. I was about to say, it looks like the opponent's kind of weighing whether I have a Murktide Regent coming or not. So actually, in a case like that, this is like very minor, but I just thought about it. Maybe it's correct. Since I'm never wastelanding my opponent this turn, I should just play my land out and represent represent the Murktide and kind of keep my opponent guessing, because Murktide would be insane here. I would stop my opponent cold, but I'm actually not even digging for a blue card. Okay, yeah, I think that's easily a better play. So I have more looks to get into the. Yeah, I mean, beautiful, beautiful. This is like why you have to not really worry about the result when you play Magic. You need to worry about how could I have a better fight when you lose. It's not like how could I have won. Well, that's like the best scenario, but you should also think about how could I have put up a better fight. And when you're winning, it's like how could I have winning one with less risk, if that makes sense. So many learnings to find. Like this is something where if I play my land out, I let my opponent think harder about this decision, and that could be the difference between winning and losing. So yeah, very very nice. And the fact that the explosives was here, that's not too relevant, but it does make it easier to understand, right? Actually see that it would have made a difference. But it's all about the theory, pushing your percentages and stuff like that. Um, that's what I love the most about this game. All right, let's take one more match before we wrap it up. Alrighty, round three. Still on the draw. I have to say, my biggest advice for today is remember to win half of your die rolls if your plan is to do well at a Magic tournament. It's very tough playing playing on the draw and expect to win your matches. This hand is awesome. It has turn 1 and 2, turn 2 percent Atraxa or Archon. Ooh, this looks awesome. Some stormy stuff going on here. I think with this opening, I want to dig for disruption with Brainstorm because I play Grief mainly. Question is, do I go Ponder or Brainstorm? So in a perfect world, I find Grief and Force of Will and or Daze, I guess. So let's Brainstorm because we actually want to, in a perfect world, switch more than one card of our hand. Okay, the opponent has the good old Ritual Bowmaster response. Don't like that. Okay. That is very annoying. Yeah. So, okay, Archon is not the best. We can get rid of that card entirely. And let's see. I mean, Brainstorm looks terrible as well. So let's put those guys back. Pass the turn. Get ready to upkeep Entomb Atraxa and play from there. Let's see if this is if I just lose straight up to the draw 7, or this is a blessing in disguise and the opponent blew their Dark Rit here. There's a Saga's annoying. Taking 5 and Tomb Reanimate. Yeah, I mean, we're hanging in there, but it's tough. Tomb. Traxa. Draw. Yeah, this is cool high-paced Magic. The Ritual Bowmasters to punish the main phase Brainstorm. Nightmare. What nightmares are made of. Let's see what the Atraxa can go get. Force of Will, I mean, that's the only card I know I want here. Probably, like, Brazen Borrower, Wasteland, Ponder. Yeah, looks good to me, so done. Now I can easily discard a Troll and... I don't know. 2 Trolls? Is that crazy? That's funny. The opponent has one more Bowmaster. But I have lifelink, so I think I'm fine here. Could have dazed that card, though. Maybe that was better. So I put away Troll and... I guess a Ponder. That card doesn't look very good. The opponent was 1 turn ahead here. I hope my opponent doesn't have a play. Chrome Mox. Sure. No imprint, I would guess. No attack here. I can waste the Saga, I can bounce the token. I'm grinding here, I'm grinding. Waste the Saga. Here's a 5/5. 7 cards. Back with Atraxa. Never casting cantrips, hopefully. Sometimes it still gets me, those like anti-draw cards like Bowmasters, Hold Breacher, etc. Because it's just so imprinted in my brain, like cast my cantrip, stuff like that. Looks like my opponent does not have attacks. But what do I do, if anything, with the Brazen Borrower? Have the Force of Will. I'll get to a healthy life total. So maybe I just bounce the Construct token and kind of move on just a little bit here. Nice grief. Okay. Plus attack. Then I can grief twice. That's not bad. That's at 6. Grief, pitch, reanimate. That's funny. So I guess I don't want to grief twice. Just take the LED. So funnily enough, the opponent's supposed to play out this LED because of this interaction. Troll cycle. Get that. Play land. Animate the troll. Pass. Yeah, it looks like Atraxa staved off elimination here. After the horrible start that was the Bowmaster, the Saga, the second Bowmaster even. But yeah, it says a lot about the deck that you can kind of overcome a lot of crap. Okay, so we can go for, I actually like these cards, but let's see. So Voidwalker is good because later in the game, it kind of prevents the nonsense from, you know, Echo of Eons from the yard. So, I mean, this is kind of these two Bracens for a couple of negations. That's kind of the no-brainer. And then the question is, what about the last negation? I mean, it surely is better than Daze, but is it better than Fourth Grief as well? Maybe this is fine. I don't know about Grief. Maybe we can cut like one Grief for an Explosives. Or this card, I guess. Okay. All right. Yeah, this deck has so many like good stuff built in against unfair that sideboarding isn't, you know, isn't that important. We can still win games with just our main deck setup. So this is very interesting. Let's see. Am I just one land away from, you know, doing good things? The thing is, I only have the negation right now as interaction. Let's say there was also a grief, and all I needed to do was draw Black Source to, you know, double grief. I think this is a mulligan. Mulligan into this, which is totally fine hand. To reanimate, the thing about that card is it doesn't do anything unless I draw Grief or Entomb, which is obviously not nothing, but I think it's a good bottom, especially now, I guess. So opponent begins with Leyline of the Void in play, which can be annoying, don't get me wrong. We have lots of bad cards in our deck now. I have a Voidwalker and a Force of Will, so I'm definitely able to put up a good fight here through the Leyline. Also, the opponent mulligan into Leyline. I did also take a mulligan, but yeah, let's see. We're also covered against Ursa's Saga. I think the correct play here is to go and get Sewers, see what's going on. I mean, this troll sucks. Get rid of troll. Play Voidwalker. Playing Voidwalker here is like, it's like my own ley line. So now my opponent can win with Saga or racing with Bowmasters, unless they have some spicy sideboard plan, of course. I'm not an expert on the Storm decks these days. I know there are different versions. I don't even know if Beseech the Mirror is in there, probably, right? And then it would be kind of good to have like a package for that, winning with Helm, but who knows? Force of Negation is a good one. I think I'll hang on to this Wasteland. So now I can force twice. Don't want to get Bowmastered, so I'll just stay put. If my opponent at some point taps out, I'll fire off Cantrip. But right now, it's not worth it, since the Voidwalker is winning the race. Let's see what this is. This could be exciting. Chromox with nothing on it. Good question what that means. Another Wasteland. Another Wasteland. Now I feel like it's okay to Wasteland the opponent. Maybe I should have taken the artifact, actually. Not sure. Let's see. Maybe it's just the same. Okay. Let's see. Dark Ritual, I'll let that resolve. I can't. Okay, so Beseech the Mirror. I'll force a negation, pitch Brainstorm. We could get Veiled here, which is very dangerous with, Lotus Petal being up. Okay, so we managed to eat like 2.5 cards there for 2 cards. That's very good. Worth noting is Beseech the Mirror is not like accessible via Dowdy Voidwalker because I exiled it with Force of Negation, and I didn't, counter it, and then because of the whatever it's called, which counter is it? Void counter? Yeah, it wasn't via the void counter; it was via negation, just straight up. The opponent with the concession here, which I think is too early, because the opponent could easily find like the mana to cast Beseech in another Beseech before taking 4 more hits. Also, I've showed that I respect Ursa Saga enough to not fire off this Wasteland, and that would be the case for at least 1 more turn. The opponent doesn't even know I have the second force. But yeah, I mean, we kind of picked that strategy apart 1 game by doing our own thing, which is actually one of the biggest lessons with this deck. One of the best ways to answer opposing powerful strategies is just, getting an Attrax into play, reloading your hand, and trying to bury your opponent in disruption. And then when things get tough and a bit more chippy with, opposing graveyard hate, we just have like solid plan with Wasteland, counterspells, and the 3/2 Shadow that got there. It went the distance this time. Okay, I think that's pretty cool showcase of what this deck can do. If you're playing this weekend, make sure that you can beat this deck. I don't think it's. I can't recommend signing up to like serious events where you care about winning and being weak to blue-black reanimator. That would be a mistake. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I enjoyed playing this. We actually had a good set of 3 matches here. You can't always expect that, but today we got kind of lucky. We got some nut draws, we got some nail biters, and that's all I ask for when I play Magic. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you next time.